So joining us now is Talk TV contributor Paula Rowan-Adrian, Talk TV presenter Richard Tice, and Talk TV international editor Isabel Oakeshott, and former Conservative MP across the pond, Louise Mensch. Well, there's a new YouGov poll out that says that 69% of the British public think that Boris Johnson deliberately lied to Parliament. 14% think he didn't. And interestingly, 51% of Conservatives think he lied to Parliament. So even his own lot think he lied to Parliament. There's also been an advisor, a former advisor called James Johnson to Theresa May, who's now a pollster, has told Sky News that only 17% of people have a positive view of Boris Johnson these days, 62% negative, and he said for context, that means Boris Johnson is now more unpopular with the British public than Philip Schofield or Xi Jinping of China, which is quite something, all right, Isabel.
Sorry, but that polling is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, the British public are wrong again, are they?
Of course they're being negative about him this week, but give it a few weeks and it'll blow over a bit.
Why should it blow over? Seriously. Why should it blow over?
Honestly, to recycle an old argument, because there are so many bigger things to worry about.
Than a Prime Minister lying to Parliament?
But he's not the Prime Minister anymore.
But he was.
He's gone.
He was.
He's gone.
And he's the first Prime Minister ever to be censored in this way.
I know. But what is the point of continuing?
Make you feel like...
What's the point of continuing to froth at the mouth about this?
Well, we're not. At the moment, we're involved in an ongoing story. The report's literally just come out. You're one of these people that says it's too late to talk about this, and then the next thing is too soon. There's never a good time, is there?
No, I think
to deliberate this scandalous behaviour of this Conservative Prime Minister.
About politics, but I just think we are now wasting energy on this. The guy is finished in the Conservative Party. I cannot see him back.
If he is, then this is energy well spent. My worry, Richard Tice, I have to be honest, is that he will try and make a comeback. And rather like Donald Trump in America, there's a constituent of people out there where the worse he behaves, the more lies he tells, the less he honours democracy, the more he attacks the fundamental bedrock of our democratic system, they stay with him.
Yeah, but that's the joy of democracy, Piers. You know, everybody is entitled to vote for who they want to. But I think there's a serious point here, which is that this committee, in saying that you can't even challenge their judgments, you can't even question it, that actually is against free speech.
What would you challenge? What would you challenge?
Well, the point is, he's allowed to challenge it if he wants it.
What would you challenge?
What would I challenge? I think the...
And by the way, he's allowed to challenge it. He's given it 2 weeks in advance.
But the fact...
He's allowed to go back and say that, you know...
But the fact that they increased the sentence because he criticised it, I think is an attack on free speech, an attack on the standard. That's the only point.
All right, Paula...
No one's doubting what he's done. No one's doubting what he's done.
I don't agree with you, and I think Paula's going to say what I'm about to
I think we need to be clear about this. He didn't receive the further reprimand because he didn't agree with the report. He received the further reprimand because he was told that it was a confidential document. He was supposed to respect the confidentiality, and he failed to do that. This is another example of Boris Johnson
Where's the democratic accountability of not being able to question?
Why should he be allowed democratic accountability when he himself is attacking the very idea of democracy? Out of interest.
Look, he's not attacking democracy.
Oh, yes, he is.
Well, no, hang on.
We have a democratic process.
Yes.
Parliament is the absolute cornerstone.
And no one's doubting
And this guy is saying the whole thing's corrupt, it's all a witch hunt, there are a bunch of liars. I don't think I've never seen a former Prime Minister try to damage the institution of democracy in this way, ever.
Well,
it is Trumpian. It's the way Trump attacks it in America.
It is Trumpian.
But you can't feel comfortable about that.
I'm not feeling comfortable about what he... No one's doubting what he did. He misled Parliament. There's no question about that.
He lied to Parliament.
And the likelihood is that he deliberately lied to Parliament. He obviously denies that. But I think you cannot say he can't question the report. And to increase his sentence because he had the temerity to question it, I think is vindictive.
It's not because he had the temerity
to
question it.
Exactly because he questioned it.
That is wrong.
Publication.
It was a confidential document, but one that he knew that he was supposed to respect the confidentiality, and he decided to completely disregard.
Here's what he did. Here's what he did, Richard. He got given the report 2 weeks before. He studied it. He realised he was going down, right? He realised he would have to probably lose his seat. He realised the game was up. And he did what Trump did when Trump
blew it up.
He just blew up the whole thing and has carried on blowing it up, right? And my answer to that is we should just... That's enough, Boris. we don't have to go down the American route where he just comes back and does it all over again. We don't.
Well,
So you only believe in free speech when it suits you?
No.
That's the point.
No. Once again, Paula's completely right.
You are actually wrong on this.
Maybe we should go to your own partner and get her to explain to you why you're wrong. Isabel.
Because you're wrong, because the point is that he shouldn't have criticised it before it came out, because that is the agreement, and it's basically like he broke the embargo.
It's not a free speech
information that he shouldn't have done.
It's not a free speech issue. It's about him deliberately torching the conventional process of how these things are reported to the public, and he knew what he was doing.
They said they increased the sentence, right, because he challenged their report.
Not because he challenged the report, because he broke every rule around the release of the report, and then he torched the very idea of democracy. And he's a Prime Minister, for God's sake.
Former Prime Minister.
And when we
Until recently, a Prime Minister, the most powerful politician in this country. And he's torching democracy.
And he's paid the price.
Yeah, so he should. I'm actually getting fed up with people trying to defend Boris Johnson.
I'm not defending him.
He's not this cuddly, lovable guy that all his supporters are.
No one's defending him.
Honestly, I'm just assuming this report is a guy who systematically lied. It's not the first time on that rodeo. No. He lied when he was fired from a newspaper, The Times, for making up stories. He lied when he lied to Michael Howard about an affair at the Spectator and so on. You know, Boris has always lied. We all know that. And it was kind of funny for a while until he started doing it over COVID, when people were dying.
And can I make a prediction here? Because I don't think he's going to make a comeback, actually. I don't think this is at all about him making a comeback. I think what this is about is him making himself this figure of intrigue, of grandeur.
I've just remembered.
Wants his money.
Hang on, I've just remembered. Louise has been waiting very patiently. I'm still thoroughly enjoying the debate, but I've completely forgotten you're over there. Louise, OK, you're going to try and defend the indefensible, are you?
Yes, I am, but I don't think it is indefensible. I'm a bit of a sticky wicket if you're fed up with hearing people defend Boris Johnson, because that's what I'm just about to do. Somebody has to push back on you, as great as you are, saying throughout this show that Boris Johnson has been attacking democracy and attacking Parliament. This committee, this little quango, is not the same thing as Parliament.
It's not a quango, it's a committee of parliamentarians led by 4 out of the 7 being Conservatives. They're your people. They're Boris's people. It's not a quango.
Who were picked by the House.
As the last panel,
it's a group of MPs selected by Parliament to adjudicate against MPs. And guess what? A bunch of Tories found out that their Tory was a liar. That's it. It's not a Labour thing. It's not a quango. It's not a Lib Dem thing. I didn't do it. It's the Tory party people who did it.
Piers, the committee hasn't just threatened Boris Johnson. And by the way, how do you know that it was only 40 days originally? You know that because this committee themselves have been leaking. They didn't just threaten Boris Johnson. They came out a couple of days ago and they started throwing their weight around and threatening not only Boris, but any of his supporters in Parliament who also criticise them. They think that they are above the law, and it's a small group of people that have done this. Now, I've read this report and I don't agree with you. I don't think it is a meticulous piece of work.
What?
And I don't think your view is universally held. I see the Times, I see the Telegraph, the headlines today, lots of people saying that they've gone way too far, that it's spiteful and that it is over the top. Now, is Boris finished?
And you don't think Boris's response has been spiteful and over the top?
No, I think he's entitled to defend himself against a group of people that
liars.
are out to get him, one of whom went to a party.
He said the whole thing's a stitch up. They're all a bunch of liars.
Piers, that's called free speech.
Why do
you believe in it?
No, I do.
You believe in it?
I do.
Except when it doesn't see you.
No. You're getting me completely wrong. I believe in free speech. I don't believe in him torching the process that these things have done.
He hasn't torched democracy.
Yes, he has.
He's torched the committee.
He defended himself.
But he fundamentally
torched the process. So, Louise, do you think Boris can actually make a comeback? And if so, why?
Yes, he can. And the answer to why is quite simply, as whoever it was said, events dear boy, events. He's not going to be able to make a comeback before the election. That is obvious. And I think he's leaked his plans, if you like, to the Times tonight when he has said that he's waiting for Rishi Sunak to lose the election disastrously. And even then, he's not going to try and come back immediately. He's going to wait for somebody to follow Rishi and not to land a blow on Keir Starmer. And then when the Conservatives are tired of losing, that's when they might go back to the guy who delivered an 80-seat majority. So you can write him off if you like, but I think you'll be the only one.
And then he squandered it. and he squandered it because he kept lying, and he kept breaking the rules that he set for everybody else. And unfortunately, when you do that as Prime Minister, people don't like it. It turns out. Who knew? Isabel, can you make a comeback?
No, I just cannot see it in the Conservative Party.
No.
I mean, maybe he can do it outside the Conservative Party.
What about the Reform Party? Oh, hang on, that's a bit awkward. I mean,
No, I told you on Tuesday night. I'm happy to repeat the point.
How would you feel if he wanted to come and run the Reform Party?
Look, the point is we've got massive
You look down a bit nervously
Not at
there,
all.
Richard.
We've got massive differences about net zero, about immigration. Where we have the similarity is doing Brexit properly. And
Would
with
you
the people
stand- would
around
you
him-
stand aside
with,
for it?
With the people around him, he failed to do
So
that.
would you stand aside for him?
It's not an issue because
He's such a winner. I mean, why wouldn't you?
It's a hypothetical question.
No,
we've got
an actual-
massive. No, we've got massive differences.
But you believe in free speech, Richard.
Yes, I do.
So I've asked you a question, and in
I've
the
answered
spirit
it.
of free
I've
speech,
said, in the spirit of free speech, we've got massive differences. That is the key.
so you
point.
wouldn't want him running the party?
Look, but
I don't think anyone
I don't,
wants him running
I don't
anything.
want anybody running the party that I lead who doesn't agree with the clear principles that I agree with
So
and
you
our
don't.
massive
To be
policies.
clear, you don't want him to run the party.
To be clear, no one should run our party that doesn't agree with our
You're
policies.
sounding like a politician. Oh, you are a politician. Come on. Should he run the party? Yes or no?
He's not going to run the party. That's absolutely absurd.
You're
How
asking an
else are we
absurd hypothetical question. We fundamentally disagree on some major
If it's so
issues.
absurd,
of
answer
policy.
the question. If it's so absurd,
Could they-
answer
Yeah.
the question.
gonna- I think you need to rephrase the question, Piers, and you might get somewhere.
The fact
Well,
is,
how would you
Richard,
phrase it? You obviously know the right question to
There
ask.
are
I'm-
people,
I'm-
Richard.
Hang on, Isabel, you ask the question.
I'm just okay. Let me put it this way: do you think you could work with him?
Good question.
Good question. On Brexit, yes.
No, with the
On-
Reform
on,
Party.
On,
There you go,
Brexit,
there you
on Brexit, we should do it. Look, we've left. We should do it properly or not do it
So
at
you
all.
can work with Boris
on-
Johnson
on
and the
Brexit.
Reform Party?
On Brexit.
You could work with him?
In some form
The
of
door's
relationship-
open. You're inviting him in, are you?
What I'm saying is
Serial liar you're happy to
no,
have
what I'm saying-
working in your party?
that's not what I'm
Say
saying.
that.
That's not what
Well,
I'm
he's a
saying.
serial liar.
I'm saying
You just
on
invited him to
Brexit-
come and join the
on
party.
No, he
Brexit,
didn't.
that's
He
not what I'm
didn't.
saying,
This
Piers.
is
Could
the
they
Mr.
work
350
We're
on the
saying-
front
we're
of the
saying-
bus.
We've got to leave it there.
All of us Brexiteers should work together.
Okay.
Dear, oh dear.
So I'm confused whether that door's open or shut, but in the spirit of free speech, we're going to move on. Thank you to my pack. Thank you, Louise, over in America.